Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel. Unfortunately for you, our scum and villainy are incredibly lame and have bad opinions, but fortunately for you, we're delivering them to you so you can watch them, hear them, watch them here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel, listen to them on the GenreVerse Podcast Network, available on all your favorite podcast apps. I'm Kyle, joined by my friends Cam Clark and Michael Connolly. Shockey here. Cam and Shockey do a lot of writing on LRMonline.com, which you guys should check out every day for all your entertainment news, needs, opinions, celebrity interviews, and more. And of course, the GenreVerse has all sorts of podcasts, all sorts of content, especially a lot of anime stuff. So if you're into anime, definitely check that out. And you know what? Not only do we have the GenreVerse YouTube channel, we have GenreVerse Sports. Cam does a soccer podcast over there called Watch More Football. If you're looking for a football podcast, or a soccer podcast as it's really called, go ahead and check out GenreVerse Sports. And yeah, guys, Star Wars. Not a lot to talk about on the news front today. We got a couple of stories, but as we are trying to revitalize our Cantina podcast here on the GenreVerse, we're going to be bringing just conversational topics when we don't have a lot of news to cover. And today we're going to be talking about the absolute state of Star Wars gaming. But before that, Cam, why don't you tell us what is going on in the news of Star Wars these days?
Sure. Well, there was some rumours that were started. I don't know if you remember this from before, that there was a rumour that was started that there was a possibility of The Mandalorian Season 4 becoming a movie instead. Which isn't that crazy a stretch when somebody counted out the hours per 22-minute episode, and it's not far off. It wouldn't be too crazy an idea. However, if you remember, the original kind of proponents of that were Bespin Bulletin and MSW, who had said they had kind of heard this, but they had heard that it was, although it was rumoured or it was explored, it was not the plan and that it was going to be a series. Well, then, just last week, or I think it was, Jeff Snyder at the Hot Mic, who has been getting a lot of good information about the Rey sequel lately, he had says that he had then heard this about the possibility of Mando Season 4 becoming a movie, and that could be the next release of a movie for Lucasfilm. However, both MSW and Bespin have now come out to say that they are separate sources. They're not the same people, but they've heard the same thing, that again they're saying no, that was explored, but that is not the case, and that it's currently going ahead as a series for Disney Plus. And I kind of try, although Snyder's got great info on the movie side, and I think that's maybe where he's picked this up. I think Bespin and MSW seem to have a lot of knowledge about the Mando sort of shows.
Yeah.
They tend to have a pretty good hit rate on that. So I'm kind of going to go with them on this one. What's more, Bespin also had a report, I think it was just today we covered that actually, that when we're recording this, that Mando Season 4 will actually start filming round about this February. They didn't have a bang-on date February. They said, it could be like the end of January, but ultimately it will be filming by February, is what they've heard from their kind of sources. And I think they do have some sources that work on the crews of these shows, would be my guess. Not going to tell any tales, but that would be my guess. So I think that's a good bet that they've been told, so kind of that's roughly when work's going to start on Season 4. Don't know anything about it yet, but that's the stories, or that's the Barside buzz at the moment, as we like to put it.
There was all sorts of stuff we've heard about, how involved Den will be. We've heard about or will not be, rumors, that is. I'm just
saying they're rumors though, it's that they don't really have any good
we don't have much of anything. All I know is that after Season 3, I don't care. No, I mean I care. I want to care more, but I was really disappointed and upset by just how garbage Season 3 was. I will never forgive them for the damn bird thing that they chased around, they ate, it stayed safe. There was so many issues with that. Oh my God, it was awful. Anyways, Shockey, sometimes, man, you've got your finger on a pulse that Cam and I can't seem to find. what are you thinking about this, and anything else you can share with us this week before we carry on into our next topic?
I think that kind of the rumor mill about the Mando, being a movie rather than a regular season came about when trying to figure out what's his name, lead actor,
Pedro.
Pascal.
Yeah, Pascal. Sorry, I'm horrible with names and stuff.
It's all right.
Is when they were trying to figure out his schedule, because this is probably one of the hottest actors right now. He's doing Last of Us. He's, figuring out, a couple of other upcoming projects. The rumor is that he's going to be up for Fantastic Four. And so he's a very busy man. Now, does that mean he's got to be at every single shooting for Mando? No. But does it make sense for him to just come in and change it instead of doing a long season where it takes a little bit more work to do a series rather than a movie, because the movie can get all the shots in. You don't have multiple directors. You don't have to, do all these different takes in locations and stuff. You can just pretty much volume it. So I think that's where the kind of the rumor was, is that we know that Pedro Pascal's schedule is crazy, rightfully so. But no, I think that was just kind of a, more rumor than actual serious talk, or just like a thought process from LucasFilm.
We always thought the movie idea was going to be the culmination of it all.
That's
and
it.
Season 4 was not going to be because you still have Ahsoka, Thrawn stuff to tie into.
This isn't the Dave Filoni movie, and that was never the case. We've never had any solid dates for that, but
and from what I know,
the rumor is that Ahsoka season 2, if it happens, is supposed to come before the Mando-verse movie from Filoni. So
and what I've always known was that Favreau, and really who's the one behind Mandalorian, but also with Filoni too, is that it was a 5-season series, and at the end of the 5th season was going to be the culmination movie to bring it all together. Because remember, they're trying to create, I don't know how well it's been created, but kind of that Game of Thrones type of universe, all the different storylines going on at different time, or in the same timeline, but and now we got the Ahsoka show.
They could have took a bit more inspiration from how those are character-driven things, though, and that's where I think some of these shows.
Shoulda, woulda, right? Yeah, so that was going to be the main, the 5-season one. Ahsoka, I think originally was 3 seasons. Now it's down to 2. And then the Ezra Thrawn show, or whatever they want to call it, was going to be, it's just going to be 1 and kind of wrap everything up. And then there was, and it's still.
So you've heard that's still going to happen?
That one's still, from what I know is that the storyline for Ahsoka goes now into that direction with Ahsoka and Sabine, and Baylan and Shin, right? Yeah, Shin. And then the Ezra Thrawn show, which never really had a name to it, Rebel season 3 or whatever you want to call it, or some were saying like Heir to the Empire and stuff, back, but that's going in its own direction. And then it still hasn't truly been written off yet, because it's still part of the storyline, but the what is it called? Rangers of the Republic. That, it seems like more and more what I'm hearing now is that's going to be morphed into, that storyline's going to be morphed into the Ezra and Thrawn show. That there was going to be, so once they got rid of whatever,
Carano.
Gina Carano. So see, I'm horrible with names, guys. Once they got rid of Gina Carano and stuff, then Hera was going to take the lead on that, and I think that's they were going to try to, if there was enough kind of push for her, and if there was enough fan base to see a Hera show, but
she was like the worst part of it.
I think that after what we saw from Ahsoka season 1 is not necessarily bad criticism or that, but just it wasn't the pop. It wasn't the pop that they were expecting. So now they're saying, okay, let's pivot, take the story that we were going to do for Rangers, because they never really 100% said we're done with it and it's canceled. It's that story's still there to take place. I think they're just going to morph it into the Ezra Thrawn series, kind of do that and go for there, because Zeb was at the end of Mando season 3. Then the whole kind of talking about Mando going and doing these little side jobs. That's kind of now I think the position where they're at. So how it all plays out, who knows? It's changed at least 3 times from what I've known, how the direction is. And one was because of Gina Carano's firing, another one's because of the status of Star Wars in general and stuff.
It would have been crazy to base a show led by Gina Carano anyway. To be perfectly honest, I mean, Cara Dune wasn't a horrible character, but and I don't have anything specific against her just because she's got some crazy political views. But I just don't think she was a good enough actress to lead
and I don't
series.
think it was going to be centered. I don't think it would have been centered on her.
No,
she would have been one of like. It would have been like a what do they call it when it's a group of
ensemble
people,
ensemble piece.
Yeah, like like one of those, an ensemble cast, and that there would have been like 2 or maybe 3 anchors, 3 or 4 anchors, and she would have been one of the anchors, but supported by others, including even that X-wing pilot that they keep trying to shop around.
Oh, the Asian guy,
I feel like they want him to be like Tycho. But I don't know that's who exactly, because
I always thought they want us to make him like the new Wedge, like he's the.
He does too much. He does too much to be the way he doesn't do the Wedge stuff. He doesn't do the Wedge stuff. He does the Exo stuff, which is why I kind of felt like Tycho from Rogue Squadron,
right?
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll give everything it's at least one episode. Yeah. I mean, like I said, season 3 just left a really bad taste in my
Mando
mouth.
season 1 and season 2 were decent, so it's like
they were.
You can forgive that it was a bad season if they pull it back in season 4. It would be no reason to say.
Man, I am human. I am not a. I am not a deity. I have promised forgiveness to no one. I will hold a grudge against these No, I'm joking.
As long as they just don't do another Jack Black Lizzo episot.
Oh my God,
that was horrible.
That was the worst. I mean, he was also in it, but Chris, not Lee, not Lambert, Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, yeah. That episode made
all the
Christmas
no
sense.
That was such a
and the Mandalorians playing football in the background there. I'm like, what the heck are we doing?
Yeah, guys? that was dumb. You know what else has been dumb as we segue?
Yes.
The state of Star Wars gaming has been dumb.
Dumb.
I don't know if you've been to the website recently, Shockey, but the actual StarWars.com /games/-apps still has Eclipse on here, man.
Yeah.
Like Eclipse is right there under the latest Star Wars games and apps, as well as Star Wars Outlaws, Jedi Survivor, and Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Down below is the essentially canceled, not really up and running so much, but still playable Squadrons, and the delayed once again until at least next year's Star Wars Hunters, which was like their arena shooter game that they had announced.
Do they have Outlaws on there?
Outlaws is up here on the top still. So when we say the state of gaming, guys, it's not just the amount of games that we have, which is very few and far. You've got your 2 Jedi games, Survivor and Fallen Order. You've got your 2 Battlefront games, and we're talking mainline. We're not talking like kid stuff, mobile stuff, browser stuff. Although I'll throw out Galaxy of Heroes because it's pretty big, even though it's a mobile thing. Yep. And then you got your Lego games. What else? What else? And you have all these games that get announced. Coder's not even on here, the remake, and we've heard about that weeks ago. Right, that's what I was saying. Yeah. We've heard about that and all the stuff behind it weeks ago. We have talked before about Disney Star Wars wanting to use stuff from the EU and how they might tamp something down because they want to redo it themselves and they don't want to compete against something that was seen as or might be seen as better, but whatever, we'll see. But yeah, you've got just a severe lack of games when you come from a property, and I'm using the Wikipedia here just to show a list. It's the Star Wars video games list by episode number, dozens. By series, X-Wing series, Rebel Assault series, Jedi Knight series, Rogue Squadron series, the Racer series, Battlegrounds. We could use another Battlegrounds. We'll get on that.
Ooh,
later.
Battlegrounds was fun.
Knights of the Old Republic, Galaxies, Battlefront. Of course, we do have the modern Battlefront, but there's just two of them.
They
All of the
haven't
games
been updated now for a number of years.
exactly. They haven't. And then you've got all of the other games that are tie-ins to the film spin-offs, whatever. A little indie things like the lightsaber battles, Jedi Power Battles, I think is what it was called on PlayStation. I used to love gaming, Shockey, and I know you have really been hurt by Star Wars gaming recently, man. Why don't you tell us about the absolute state of Star Wars gaming?
It's absolute garbage. So I thought that when EA took over as the sole license of Star Wars gaming, that was a bad move. It's now that EA's given it up or whatever, and they spread it out, it's even worse. I didn't think you could get worse than what EA did. Because at least EA gave us a couple games, here and there. So Star Wars Hunters is not coming out. I don't believe that whatever bug was ever in the beta testing of it is never coming back out. Star Wars Outlaws, I'll be shocked if it comes out, because we were at San Diego Comic-Con.
Quite decently far on. I mean, I know it was only one level,
right. But so we were at San Diego Comic-Con, right? Usually that's when you come out and if some of the bigger games, even the Capcom versus Marvels, the Street Fighter games, whatever, they'll have all the way on the far side of the main floor a bunch of playable demos and stuff. They didn't have it. Well, you know what they had was a damn speeder you could sit on and get a picture while the background was moving and stuff. I was like, this is for the video game? I mean, Diablo, all these other games have, demos that you can play. And instead we get that. And that what it tells me is that there's something horribly wrong with the demo, that there's going to be a delay. And that's why they just have 2024 on it. Because be lucky if we get it in 2024. Knights of the Old Republic, I've already kind of talked about that.
You'd be able to pull it off. That's what I'd say, though. It doesn't look that complicated a game that they shouldn't be able to pull that off.
Well, Star Wars Hunters
is other types of game.
Well, Star Wars Hunters is just a skin over of what's the
like
Fortnite and some of the other battle royale games and stuff.
Yeah,
it's literally just
and they
can't get that right. So and they're talking about you're going to be able to travel world. It's going to be like 10 times bigger than Grand Theft Auto and stuff.
It's going to be Starfield in Star Wars.
There's no way whatsoever. Knights of the Old Republic, that's done because now Disney wants to make a Revan movie and stuff, and they felt that it would be too confusing if there's a video game of Darth Revan out there and and his storyline versus a movie and stuff.
Hers, how
whatever,
dare you? How dare you assume the gender of this
either
or
Bastila
character?
Shan?
You can't you change it? Can be female in the game though, can't it?
Yeah, it can be female in the game, but the storyline.
So they're gonna make Revan female.
I swear to God, if they do that,
Keanu Reeves has always been people's top
pick
for a Darth Revan, so he must be canonically a male.
Who?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves as Darth Vader.
Yeah. So a lot of fans that are into it wanted for years. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just something people wanted for years.
But because you can change it, I'll
Disney
bet
will
money.
change it.
$100.
Battlefront 3 is done. They're not, because EA basically gave up the license which was that. How they did not turn Battlefront into a Call of Duty series, I do not understand. How can Call of Duty come out with a damn game every year with the same thing, same model? All you just do update the damn guns, change a couple maps around, move a couple buildings, and then that's it.
They could have easily done a 2 to 3 year cycle at
easily.
least.
I could play the Battle of Hoth every single time, guys. It's not that, just move a mountain around. That's it. Just move a couple mountains around. That's all it is guys wanted to shoot each other in the face. A stormtrooper
with Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
How it shouldn't be as hard as it is.
It's not.
Surely it's down to Lucasfilm given the opportunity to the wrong studios. I mean, we look at the studios that consistently put out good games. None of them are Star Wars games. So then, maybe that's because they don't make as much money off them as they do their original licenses that they make themselves. So they're like, nah, I'm not interested in the licensed game, thanks. Go to studio Z list for a licensed game. They do that shit. You know, it might be that kind of situation.
It could be. I mean, it possibly could be.
It almost feels like money laundering at this point. I'm not gonna lie, because it's just like one project after another.
Somebody's getting paid for these things. I mean, somebody got paid for that Star Wars Eclipse trailer. That was the biggest.
That was
con
a lot
in
of
the world.
That was a lot of animation in that.
That was the biggest con.
Lot.
You had
it's
that
still
damn,
there. Look at it.
You had that damn trailer premiere 2 years ago, and then it was like, okay, we got this new game, and then it kind of leaks out. Oh, we might not get it till as early 2025. I mean, poor kid who's on his deathbed who has like stage 4 cancer, and back in 2022 thinking, hey, at least I die, but I play this new awesome Star Wars game. Nope, sorry, Billy, you ain't gonna make it that long. So that's a horrible situation.
Cam,
there.
You were, or did you have another thought?
You have all these 8 other games that are announced. Respawn has like a first-person shooter, a strategy game. Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. Ubisoft has got their own Star Wars project. All these projects, right? Damn,
it's like the movies.
Yeah, exactly. So to your point, all we're left with is Galaxy of Heroes, which I love, but it's 7 years old now, 8 years old.
Yeah.
They're starting to to run out of the
run out of
characters and stuff. They're making up characters at some point and stuff. Jedi Survivor wasn't that good. Fallen Order was great. Survivor was a mid sequel to it.
Yeah.
In the Lego series, I'm too old for that. I mean, that's for my daughters to play or your kids to play and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Squadrons was
they could be fun.
God awful.
Yeah.
They can also go on and on and on, and you get fed up with them. The Lego games,
But you knew Squadrons was bad when right off the bat the retail price was $29.99. You knew that was a garbage game, and then a week after it comes out, they said, "Yeah, we're not doing any updates to it." So peace out.
Yeah.
All it was a copy of a little bit of what they did in Battlefront that they repackaged with some new maps.
Legit. That's
all they
did.
It was clearly going to be an update to the Starship side of Battlefront originally, and then they went, no, let's market this separately because we're not doing any more Battleship updates. Because actually, that was my favourite part of the Battlefront game. I wasn't really that into the troop first-person side of it, because there's other games that I get that buzz out of that do it better. What I'm into in Star Wars is flying spaceships, and that bit was actually relatively decent. I used to spend quite a bit of time on that, just messing about. But a proper game like that would be really, really good. But we'll get to that.
Well, I mean, do you want to get to that now? You guys ready to transition into? What's that?
Give me a Death Star trench run game. That's it. How many times have people said, "I just want to be in the X-wing, go down the trench run of the Death Star, and shoot"? Like, that's it. That's all I need.
I mean, so in the spirit of this conversation, we wanted to talk about games that we want to see, whether that's something that was announced and then killed, or like an original picture or something like that. Because I mean, holy shit, Disney, you need some ideas. I mean, I have a really awesome track record, Disney and LucasFilm, over on the Daily Cog, of calling all the things that Bob Iger's now like, oh man, this is a problem. I said it years ago. Okay, so if you guys, there's still a chance to hire me, is what I'm saying, and I'll bring these two guys along with me and help you fix Star Wars. So you need some game ideas. I grew up playing Star Wars games. You mentioned the flying games, Cam. I know I'm more of a sim guy, while you prefer a little bit more of an arcade style, which is still fine. I grew up playing those games. Like, my first Star Wars game that I can actually remember is TIE Fighter. Ooh. Like, that's the first one that I can remember playing. I know I played more all around the same time, but PC gaming's in my blood.
The first game I ever played as well was the original coin-op one where you sat inside, and it was just blue lines, like white lines. That's all it
Vector
was.
graphics.
And when they shot at you, it was just this like star thing that came towards you, and it was amazing, it was almost like the computer graphics in the film when they're just doing the targeting. It was terrible when you think about it. But I could literally just sit in one of those machines and you could just let me play all day, run after run. It was just the Death Star trench run, that's all it was, and I could just play it. It was amazing.
How about that Star Wars trilogy arcade machine
love
with
that
the
machine.
joystick and the seat, and you even get the Darth Vader mission at the end, and yeah, man, all of that stuff. So what would we want to suggest to Disney or greenlight? What do you guys want to see brought back? Cam, let's start with you. You mentioned a little bit, but what else you got in mind?
I mean, if we go back to what was always interested me in Star Wars, it's that from the coin op. But then it evolved. It always evolved, and you got a better version of it. And then as the computer technology gets better, you get a new version. They've now brought out the Star Wars games again. I'll get to do the trench run. I'll get to do the fly into the Death Star and the Return of the Jedi. But now I can do it in much better graphical detail. I guess we hit a certain point and then they stopped evolving it. They stopped giving us the next level up for that. So the last time we really had this was like Rogue Squadron or Rogue Leader. I can't remember which one came first and second on the Nintendo 64. So that's us going
GameCube,
360 PS3 generation, Xbox One, PS4, and we're now on a Series X, PS5. And we still haven't had the next version of that game. And that's just crazy to me, because all you need to do is make the same game, bigger maps, more ships, more detail, really, proper visuals, make it feel fun to fly, and just give it. And people would buy that and play it because it's just fun to play again and again and again. You don't even need to play it online or anything, you can just play it yourself. But even better if you could have a pal, and you could just do online and you could both fight together against NPC enemies, that kind of thing, where it's like co-op online would be they always want to go for competitive multiplayer these days. I guess as I'm getting old, I'm getting less into competitive multiplayer, so I more want to get a group of pals and go and beat the computer together. It's something that you can have a laugh with, and I would buy that in a second if it was good and a lot of maps and stuff.
I would love to see them do like a new Rogue Squadron game, call it that, but I think they would be too afraid to. They would be so scared to tell any story in game mode for fear of what they can do elsewhere. So it's like, I think you would end up with some really bland.
Pick parts out the existing movies.
That's what I was going to say. You're going to get some really bland missions in between New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi, with maybe
cool stuff in it.
A couple of things. Well, you couldn't do Rogue Squadron. I mean, in a game, just in general, like but if you called it Rogue Squadron,
you could talk. You don't have to have one character that carries through. It could be a legacy of. You could do it as an anthology type game where you put a different character in a different era.
Yeah. What about that though, Shockey? What if they released Star Wars Legends Rogue Squadron, where it's Rogue Squadron game based on the EU stuff, man. Fuck yeah.
Like to me, remember Shadows of the Empire? How great of a game that was and stuff. I mean,
it was okay game.
Oh, it was great. At that time, listen, we were right, but whatever. But it was an N64 game or stuff.
Yes.
You could update that. You could tweak the story. Dash Rendar. Hell yeah. But you could tweak the story a little bit.
Is it still it's not canon that anymore, isn't it?
Nope, no, not canon.
Nope.
Not canon. But we don't have to be canon. We don't have to. Yeah. So, but it's.
What about you, Shockey? What are you pitching? What are you telling Disney will help save LucasArts?
It's simple. Just keep bringing out Battlefronts, man. I mean, if Call of Duty can make it this long, selling, multiplayer shooting games, just do that. That will make them money every year. And the thing about it is, people bitch and complain, excuse my language, but about Call of Duties when they come out, Modern Warfare or Black Ops. Oh, it's this, that. You still bought it, and you're still playing it.
Bought it.
Yeah, you still paid that money, and you Battlefront 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. How it's not been that already? We should be on Battlefront 10 right now. At this point in time. And it doesn't have to. It's new planets. Every Mandalorian comes out with a new planet. All right, let's add it to Battlefront.
Improve it though. If it's just the same thing, and people say this is just the same game but new maps.
Well, even if they did
you just
that,
that's all you gotta do is just change
support.
the games up a little bit. That's it, or change the guns. Change the guns up a little bit, add a little bit more you can modify it, just like they do in Battlefront 2 right now. Just
would you not be better getting a base model again though, and then selling expansions, DLC?
No,
it
doesn't work. The expansion packs don't really work, and that model is basically done. So come out with what you want, keep it as that, and then whatever new ideas and or expansions you wanted to do to the game, just add it to the next one and keep selling it that way. Just what happened to those days when we didn't need expansion packs because we couldn't? We had Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis and stuff. You had to get the second game. You had to get the next game. So, for example, there was TIE Fighter with those damn 7 discs that you had to install into your computer one at a time. Insert disc 1, insert disc 2. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you are way too young. Then you had X-Wing, which was on a CD-ROM, okay? Then you had X-Wing versus Starfighter. That's all you're doing.
TIE Fighter. X-Wing,
sorry. Yeah. Then X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Then you had Rogue
X-Wing Alliance.
X-Wing Alliance, right. So all they
games
did was...
cost less money then, though, as well, because they weren't as expensive to make. But, I think audiences
it doesn't have to be, though.
That's all I'm saying. Like, Call of Duty, it's the young kids that buy it,
right.
And even kids... My son's age, he's 16, and I think he's even at the point now where he's too old for COD. Do you know what I mean?
What?
It's like
there's a 5-year-old kid being introduced to Call of Duty 25
I know.
Now. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be on the Unreal Engine. Doesn't have to be the unbelievable graphics and stuff like that. We can take shitty graphics for a little bit, all right? And as long as we got a game coming out,
want any of the games you're peddling, Mike. I'd just rather not that they don't make them.
Listen,
you just seem to want product rather than quality. You just want stuff out there.
Well, look, it works for Call of Duty. It works for all. Look at Madden.
I don't know.
Madden does not improve every single year.
They don't touch them. FIFA 23 and 24.
FIFA is
it's exactly the same. It's a piece of shit where they don't fix any of the bugs.
We still buy it, Cam. We still buy it.
No, we don't. People like me have stopped buying all these games. We've stopped buying them. There's not. It's literally you're relying on a generation. That's it.
We still buy it. Look. 40 years old and I still get mad, and even though it sucks, even though I complain about the damn game, right?
I think Shockey's in the right area. I do think that Battlefront could have had more games, at least 3.
Yes,
there should be at least 3 out by now if they started in 2015.
That's a fair point. Yeah, they could have brought out another one.
And there could have been better support, more content in between the mainline titles, and maybe even instead of doing hunters, you do a Battlefront arena shooter or something like that, where it's kind of like the modern the Warzone stuff that Call of Duty does, right? But for Battlefront,
but using the same engine,
same engine. Different time periods. Make one in the original trilogy era, one in the prequel era, one in the Mando verse.
Textures, you get to reuse rules, and so much. You could save money. So I do kind of get it, but I wouldn't want us to be at necessarily Battlefront 12 by
the community. Listen, Battlefront 2 has not been updated in 3 years, 4 years. 3.
And you can still find people.
And I'll log in right now, and there's thousands of people playing on the PS5. On PC, that community is ridiculous because they keep updating patches and they come up with new skins and stuff like that. It's gosh, the thing is, it's its own game. It's like pretty much it's evolves.
PC Master Race.
PC, yep, that's it.
PCMR. Mine. I'm that boring guy.
You want Pod Racer?
No, I don't.
You want Pod Racer?
No. I want something.
Wizards
Pod Racing.
Oh my god, I hate the freaking prequels. Although if you don't have to listen to Anakin talk, the pod racing scene looks great in the Phantom Menace. Like the actual scene is fine, so long as you don't have to listen to him talk. Kind of like the space battle at the beginning of Episode 3. It's great, so long as there's no freaking dialogue. God, people are hating me now. I'm a little bit more boring because the one thing that I want more than anything is another like massive sim, like a management sim. So I want like Battlegrounds, like Age of Empires. That would be fine. Real-time strategy like that would be good. I will accept that. But there was a game called Star Wars Rebellion.
Yep.
I love that game. Think Stellaris, however you want to say it. Audience, you might know the current game out there. It's massive. I want Stellaris, but Star Wars Stellaris.
That'd be cool.
That's what I want. Maybe not as finite detailed as Stellaris, because that's an incredibly in-depth game. But that's what I want, because
Star Trek Fleet Command thing that they've got. Sorry, that's really complex and it's really popular. And Star Trek's not as popular as Star Wars.
That's a good one. And because part of me, like, as much as I love all of the small side stories in the EU, I'm always talking like I don't need Skywalkers involved in everything. Star Wars, not everything has to be a galaxy shaking event, but I really do like the politics of it, and I like the idea of war, like total war, and that's a good game right there too. I like the idea of war and management and getting back to something like that. I would love, but Battlegrounds is I would take an RTS. They just updated Empire at War. It got its first update in forever.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they did. Empire at War's okay. It's decent, but it's not quite what I'm looking. It's like if you made management and RTS into an arcade game.
Gotcha,
that's kind of what I feel Empire at War is. It's not a bad game whatsoever.
Too light in the things that you want in that type of game.
Yeah, exactly. And there's Homeworld 3 is coming out. Homeworld's another great RTS series. They did mods, again, hashtag PCMR. They did mods where you could play Homeworld 1 and 2 with Star Wars ships, which is cool. But I would even accept something like that. Like, I don't know, man. Strategy games always did it for me, and that's why I like the sim fighters versus the arcade ones like Rogue Squadron, which is still a fun game. Just because I like one does not mean I dislike the other, audience. But I like those because there's more tactics to it. You're balancing your shields, your engine, your weapons energy. You're having to worry about your wingmen, and they're not on rails or just following ordered stuff. And the fighters can come in differently. And it was always fun to hop on with a team of pilots as X-Wings and go take on a Star Destroyer and some fighters protecting it, to actually do a run against a capital class ship and having to punch through the shields with what I always enjoy, the deeper details and things like that. So that's my pitch, man. Did you play Battlegrounds, Cam? Did you play any computer Star Wars games?
I don't like RTSs. I don't play RTSs. It's not my kind of thing, It's like it's happening, but I'm not really controlling what's happening. So that I don't tend to, I don't like turn-based stuff either, and RTSs and turn-based. There's a lot of similarities there. So yeah, but you and I basically don't like the same kind of computer games from what I can
Yeah. That's all right. I'm better than you. It's okay. I require more stimulus of my brain. No, I'm joking. I got brain damage. I can't play art. The thing is if they made that game today, I don't know if I could play it. It's very taxing on me these days, but that's still what I want. I would try. I would do my best. Maybe get some help with my
Kyle
wife.
Would be collapsed on
you manage this over there.
Drooling. Yeah.
Oh my God. That was fun though, man. It's sad because Star Wars is just so filled with opportunities, but I guarantee you one of the biggest issues that they have is they're afraid to do any story in any format lest it work better or be a potential for screen, big or small. No. So TV and movies, they are so scared. I swear that's one of the biggest problem with the games, and that's why Jedi Fallen and Survivor take place when and where they do, is specifically because they don't want to risk story that they could use in a movie or series. And here's the thing, guys, use that Legends thing. I mean, Jedi is getting a audiobook release, man. The re-release of the Legends books has been a big thing. And I don't know why they won't, just use that title. Like I said, sell Cam's game, arcade shooter, Star Wars Legends, Rogue Squadron. And just tell the EU shit. You reuse movie stuff.
Yeah, I want to have them because it's been so long. I want to do like the attack.
Yeah, you want to do the Death Star.
And I want to do the Hoth and all that. Because there's just something about actually being in that and controlling it yourself. That's cool about that. And like, in the previous games, we couldn't have like the Super Star Destroyer. So you had the Death Star.
Yeah,
and you would have that little fight, and then it would be a cutscene, and then you'd be in the bit where you're flying across the Death Star, so there's not too much. But imagine all that could be built in a space where you can literally go from one to the other, and you can fly right into the Super Star Destroyer and take out the shields and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I would
for
love.
That guy,
I would love for something like
that. You could even take over that guy crashes. You know what I mean?
I got this.
I got it. Oh, good old Porkins.
One day, I hope we get some of this stuff because, like it or not, VR and AR seem to be sticking around this time. They're not taking off the way Apple and others might not want, but one day it's fun to think that we could be, goggles on in the cockpit of an X-Wing or a TIE fighter, and taking that on. It'd be a lot of fun. Let us know what you guys would like to see from gaming in Star Wars in the comments. Let us know what you think about our ideas, what game ideas you would like to pitch, or maybe a canceled game that you would like to see revived. And then, of course, check out lrmonline.com for all written news, needs, opinions in the entertainment, geek, and pop culture realm, covering rumors and their celebrity interviews. All of the podcasts that go up on the GenreVerse YouTube channel are also there. Subscribe to the channel, follow us on your favorite podcast app, check out our merch, link in the description box below for all these prints and more, and GenreVerse Sports. I'm going to throw that out there one more time. Go listen to Cam talk about soccer. It'll be fun. You guys got anything else, Cam? No? Shockey?
No, you covered it all.
All right. May the force be with you.